Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I thought I would do a news brief this afternoon. It's Monday, I believe. I don't know, the days kind of start blurring after a while, but it's Monday. I'm pretty sure of that. And I haven't done one for a while. And today there just seems to be a lot of news, a lot of stuff. Some of it's big, some of it's not so big, some of it no one's paying attention to, and then there's things that are just flat out crazy. So I thought I would do a news brief for you. Before I get started, I haven't said anything about this in so long, but I really should. If you are trying to stock up on food for your preps, I've got something that might work for some of you. It's not a solution for all of you, but some of you. If you're looking for that long-term emergency freeze-dried food, you know, the stuff that you put it away for 20, 30 years and you forget about it until you need it, you need to go to preparewithtravis.com or click on the link below. That's one of it's the #1 emergency food supply company, the biggest. They produce some really amazing quality. It is one of the best price per calorie deals out there. A good variety. It's American owned, American made, good people that produce this. And you can go to preparewithtravis.com or click on the link below. They have daily deals. It's all shipped to you in discreet packaging, so your mail carrier or your neighbors don't know that you're buying a bunch of supplies. And you can buy as little as a few packages, a bucket, or a whole year's worth. So go to the link below in the description. If that is something that you've been looking for, you know, like I said, not everyone it's going to be a solution for, but for some of you, it definitely is. All right, so let's start off with the crazy stuff because I don't know, I'm just in one of those kind of moods. So up in Oregon, and I'm not here to talk bad about people in Oregon. In fact, as we were just chatting with someone yesterday on our live stream over on Locals that my wife and I do every Sunday. That's from the Oregon area, and it's a beautiful area, and there's a lot of good people, a lot of traditional conservative people and prepared people up in that area. There's also some real crazy left-wing moonbats up in the Oregon and Washington area. This one here, Oregon group creates a path for people of color so that they can feel safe in wilderness trails. So apparently they have created some trails up there in one of their hiking, walking areas that's only for minorities, only for people of color, because they need to feel safe from all of the bleached out people out there hiking, because I don't know, apparently there's some danger. Maybe it's all up in their head. I don't know. But I kind of thought that this country went through the whole segregation, racial segregation, you know, a long time ago. And it's like we're going back in time with this. This one's just, I don't know, thought it was a little crazy. This one's not so much crazy, but it's one that makes you go, In Canada, they're dealing with some mysterious brain disorder that's striking hundreds of people. They don't know what it's about, but it causes all kinds of paralysis and things. Makes you wonder if it's not something they're putting into, you know, the air and the water and the food and the bodies. Don't you think it's kind of unusual that in the last, let's say, couple of decades, that there's all these new diseases that's come up, all these new types of illnesses that's never been known before? I mean, if you go back and you look into human history, and you'll find that a lot of cultures, especially even primitive cultures, they weren't very sick all the time. They were rarely sick. In fact, if you go back to ancient human remains, you'll find that these old skeletons, they had no teeth problems. They had no decay in their teeth. Their teeth were all straight. But in the last couple of decades, it seems that the amount of diseases and you know, disorders and stuff has skyrocketed. Just makes you go, You can kind of figure that one out on your own. This one's a crazy one. The Bank of England. Now, the Bank of England's a big player. Okay, it's a big player when it comes to global monetary stuff. You know, a lot of people say that there are 3 cities that actually rule the world. These 3 incorporated cities, and one is the Vatican, and that's the center of religion. One is Washington, D.C., and that's the center of military might. and the other one is London because it's the center of the economy. Now, if we look at things that's happened recently, England is just, their economy's tanking. The United States military might is tanking. And I don't know, people aren't looking at the Catholic Church and the Vatican as a center for religious hub anymore, but that doesn't mean they're not still in power. But anyways, moving on, before I get myself in trouble on here. The Bank of England has officially said that people of any gender identity can in fact get pregnant. So it's now official, because the people at the Bank of England, they're the best scientists out there. They understand human biology. They get it. They know how it all works, because they're the Bank of England. They're the top of the totem pole just about when it comes to, you know, economies and stuff. So they say that anyone, any gender identity can become pregnant. This one's getting on to the more real world serious stuff, not fantasy land reality world. Police in Montreal, Canada, they're having to crack down on attempts for people to try to riot and recreate or create what is happening in France. We've already reported on how other countries like Switzerland, Sweden, you know, the Netherlands, they're starting to see a very possible bleed over of rioting and problems in their countries. Well, now it's made it across the pond, apparently, and Canada is also experiencing that. It'll be interesting to see, especially since most of this stuff going on in France is by Islamic refugees. Be interesting to see places like up in Michigan and Minnesota, where there's a lot of those folks living up there, if we'll start seeing any types of violence. Now, we keep saying that this is a riot. Here's a little video clip of several different things that are going on in France, buildings burning and stuff. And one of the police chiefs in Paris today said that this is not a riot. This is an actual war, that the people out on the streets, they're not just rioting like a typical riot to yell and scream and destroy things. That they are dead intent upon, well, doing physical deadly harm to the police officers there. He said this is a real war in the streets in Paris. So that may be coming to a city near us at some point in the future, because I think this is going to spread for a while. Israel today launched major military strikes on West Bank. There's a refugee camp there that they're attacking, and some people are saying that this is going to be one of the biggest attacks and strikes in that area in the last 20 years. United States has already given Israel their blessing on these attacks. The United States has also warned Americans against traveling in China, saying that it's not a good idea to go to China right now, that they could kidnap you and try to hold you for ransom and use it for some kind of political gain. So they're telling Americans not to travel to China. This one here is something that we've already known about, but it's kind of becoming more official. Okay, we've already known that this is going to happen. At least many people have. So BRICS, you know, they're starting their new currency. They're supposed to start, I think, from what I understand, a pilot program like in September. It's what I'm hearing. Well, the Russian embassy in Kenya stated today officially that the BRICS currency will in fact be gold-backed. Now, I was reading something today. I'm not going to have all the data here because I couldn't find anything that was hardcore, but there is a lot of speculation that China has been hoarding, and probably even Russia too, a lot more gold than we understand. See, China, they're one of the largest producers of gold, but they're not an exporter of gold. They keep it all to themselves. And so there's not really any way for us to know exactly how much China has. A lot of people think that they have the second or third largest supply of gold or reserves of gold, but it's very likely and possible that they have much, much higher. Same way with Russia. Russia's one of the largest producers of gold on the planet. It's very possible that they've been hoarding and storing a lot of gold. And then if you look at the other nations in BRICS, there's a lot of those African nations and stuff that are very large producers of gold that are also part of it. This is going to kind of rock the currency and economy around the world when they unveil this new currency that's going to be gold backed. And you know, the United States' currency is only backed by people having respect in our military might, which both have been in decline considerably recently. China has also restricted the use of the export of two metals used in semiconductor electronics. Now, this is significant because China is doing the same thing with commodities that the United States has been doing with our currency. We've weaponized our currency, and that's why it's losing power. We've weaponized it, and we go around the world and we say, if you don't do things the way we want you to do, we're putting these sanctions on you because of our currency's power. And that's why a lot of countries are moving away from it. They're like, I don't want to risk being sanctioned and having this economic collapse and problems just because U.S. doesn't like what we're doing or how we believe. And so that's why you're seeing a lot of these countries switch or say they're going to switch to another currency. Well, China's doing the same thing, probably in some level of retaliation, but also to just control it. When it comes to these rare earth metals, China controls about 80 to 90% of all the world's rare earth metal resources, and these are the things that are used to make a lot of this technology, the semiconductors, the batteries, all this kind of stuff. And now they're restricting the export of two very important ones that's used in semiconductors. So the possibility of prices going up in electronics and just hard to get pieces and stuff is going to be a very likely thing. China has also said that they're seeking to expand their relationship and their ties with the Russian Navy. So they're wanting their Navy and the Russian Navy to expand their cooperation and be even closer friends than what they have been before. Neither China or Russia's Navy are really comparable to the United States in the sense of the technology and the nuclear weapons and the nuclear capability of propulsion of a lot of our ships and stuff. But they do have a lot. And they're building them very rapidly. In fact, I read an article a few months back from a Navy admiral saying that the worry is that China is able to outproduce us, that they are producing high quality. Their new ships, which they don't really have a lot of, but their new ones are very good, and they're able to produce them several times faster than what the United States can. They said that they can produce 3 to 4 of their big ships in the time it takes us to produce one. And so even if they might not be able to take us on and defeat us right away, in 5 to 10 years, it's possible that they could. And then the last thing on my news list here, I don't know, maybe this is just humorous. Maybe this will just get a laugh. Zelensky, you know, that guy over in Ukraine that dances in pantyhose and high heels, and he's also the president of Ukraine, has made billions of dollars off of you, right? He really likes Americans because we've made him a very wealthy man. Anyways, that guy, he told CNN that the war with Russia will not end until Crimea is back being part of Ukraine. It's interesting because from everything I've seen, I don't think Crimea wants to be part of Ukraine. In fact, that's how they got away from being part of Ukraine, was a vote, a democratic vote, that they voted to be part of Russia. And everything that I've seen is that at least a majority of Crimeans don't want to be part of Ukraine. But he's going to drag it out, according to what he says anyways. He's just a puppet. We all know that. BlackRock now owns Ukraine. They have like $500 billion in loans, money that they're going to go in there and start rebuilding Ukraine. So they're going to own it. If they didn't already, they definitely will now. And it'll just continue to be the slush fund money laundering center for the West. And that is up until Russia and Putin finally say that enough is enough, and they, very possibly could destroy Ukraine. I'm not favoring Russia over Ukraine or Ukraine over Russia. I'm saying that I think it should stop. I think it's all wrong, and I think it's more wrong for the West to be involved in all this. We have no business over there. It's not the United States. Why are we spending billions of our dollars and sending all of our equipment over there, weakening ourselves, just so that some politicians here in the United States can get a little bit fatter and have a place to launder their money and probably pick up mail order brides from. Anyways, probably have said too much in this video. Folks, if you haven't figured it out already, things are crazy. They're getting crazier. We've got a 4th of July, which is actually Independence Day. Most people have forgotten that. It's not about fireworks. It's about celebrating this nation's victory over Great Britain and becoming independent, if you actually believe that narrative part of the story. Anyways, could be a different story. Maybe, you know, the King of England is still in charge of the United States or still stakes some kind of claim over us, but we won't go into that because we want to just, you know, kind of turn things off and blue pill ourselves tomorrow and believe that America is the greatest nation and most independent. And it is, comparatively, but it's lost a lot. And I would consider and strongly suggest that you wake up to that fact and stop just thinking that America's great, America will always stand. You know, yeah, there's bad things, but we're still the best and we'll always be the biggest and best. That's a very foolish way to look at things, and because of that attitude, America is falling, and maybe it can be saved, maybe it can be built something better and new, but either way it's going to be disastrous for folks like you and I, and that's why you need to get yourselves prepared for the radical coming change and crisis that is just around the corner. You need to be getting your houses in order, preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.